We are back at Notre Dame football practice where, as you can see, we did not check the weather before our first attempt at recording the stand-up. I'm Jack Sobel. This is a very wet Tyler James as well. And we have some injury updates for you. We'll get to the official ones. Maddie Augustine out for a while, but she returned the season, as should Chaz Smith. But Augustine, I think, is a big one, given that he was supposed to compete for the right guard job. More on that update in a sec. Kingsville Amawasa looking very good. From what you saw. Ashton Craig on the right track. Dallas Golden we didn't know about, wasn't really announced, but he was not practicing. He was in street close today. That's Nick competing at nickelback for Notre Dame. And then Quincy Porter, the Ohio State transfer receiver, I think even doing maybe a little less than he was before, Tyler.
Yeah, I wasn't, this is my first practice. I wasn't here last week, but for the clips I saw, I didn't think Quincy looked like he was moving very well. And so it made me think that maybe he's got a bit longer to go in that recovery than maybe Notre Dame hoped. So I'm not sure what the latest update is there in terms of what he needs to do moving forward. But yeah, I counting on a big game in the season opener from Quincy Porter seems like a stretch at this point.
Yeah, today he wasn't participating in individual drills. You see Kingston Amawasa, he's doing indies. You see Ashton Craig, he's doing indies. Right. Neither of them are really doing competitive periods yet, but they're moving well. They're doing individual drills. They're on the right track. Quincy Porter today was working one-on-one with Lauren Lando on the indoor field while the Notre Dame team was outside. Obviously, the Notre Dame team, unlike us, is inside right now, but they were outside during practice. And Porter helmet off, one-on-one with Lando. One more absence we should talk about, Tyler. Blake Hebert, the sophomore quarterback who's competing for the backup job, not at practice today. We learned Saturday that he was out with a personal matter, as he tended to a personal matter. Was again not here today. That is all we got. Again, still tending to a personal matter. So obviously, whatever Hebert and or his family have going on, Blue and Gold hopes everything is going well in that front. But from a football perspective, Tyler, one practice in this competition you can afford to miss. You probably can't afford to miss 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, he had the advantage of being the veteran of these guys that are competing for the backup job, but you start to lose that when you're not able to be here for all of fall camp. So unfortunate for him, and but obviously more opportunity for Teddy Gerard and Noah Grubbs to be competing for that backup spot, and they're both going to try to take advantage of it.
We saw Noah Grubbs today during 11-on-11 action. He was operating the second team. CJ Carr operating the first team. Tyler, what were some of the things you saw there in that little tempo action at the start of practice?
Yeah, CJ Carr having to get out of the pocket. Bryce Young chased him out once. He was doing a lot of scrambling to try to keep plays alive and get some throws off downfield. Threw it away once, I think, and threw one downfield for completion to Cooper Flanagan. And not a lot of rhythm, I would say, offensively necessarily, but I think not a lot of reason to worry. Just a drill at the beginning of practice that we're able to see, so that's the only thing we can analyze other than individual drills. But I think that the offense is in a good spot in terms of what the offensive line can bring. We talked to Joe Rudolph today and some offensive linemen, physicality being an emphasis there. And yeah, the defensive line, I think, is just a very impressive group that I spent a bit of time watching, not only in the scrimmage portion, but in individual drills. And there's just a lot of athletic and strong-looking guys that are going to be tough to block, I think, this season.
And we saw Boubacar Traore deflect a pass to the line of scrimmage. You mentioned Bryce Young chasing down CJ Carr outside the pocket. That was a really impressive rep to me, man. He looks quick. He looks explosive. He looks fast. He can chase down even athletic quarterbacks. And CJ Carr's not unathletic. He's also, no one's going to mistake him for a dual threat guy. I think Bryce Young could chase down some dual threat guys outside the pocket. He was really impressive. He looks different. You mentioned this in our first draft of this video that got cut out by microphone issues. That is a whole other story. But you mentioned that, looking at him, you're like, wait, who's 95? He's really reshaped his body. He's more explosive. Charlie Partridge, we talked after practice, said he's technically better than he was before. Very encouraging signs from what I think is one of the key swing players on this team.
Yeah, Bruce Feldman isn't the only one to call him a freak. Gerby Lambert called him a freak today, too. He's just got some freakish tendencies in terms of his athleticism and strength. And I think he even spoke to, he feels good at this weight. This feels like the right spot for him in terms of what he's able to do, moving physically, and then also be able to move guys around with his strength. So maybe we hyped him too much going into last season, and maybe this will be the season that he has his true breakout season as defensive end for Notre Dame. And that would be a welcome, especially to be on the other side of Boubacar Traore, who I think just looks like $1 million. He looks like the kind of defensive end that gets drafted in the first round. If he's got to play to that level, but I think in terms of what he can do, I think there's that potential there, and you can see glimpses of that in practices. And they have to challenge Will Black and Gerby Lambert, Notre Dame starting offensive tackles, who are learning their positions as well. So interesting battles there on a daily basis.
And you can see like how much better it's making Bryce Young, because like when his technique is wrong, like Gerby Lambert's going to bury him for it in real time. Like he'll give feedback, but he'll also, you know, Bryce will end up on his behind on a rep every now and then. And like that real time feedback from going, like this is Bryce's first year as a starting defensive end full time for an offseason, like going against the first team offensive tackle, that's really helped him as his development continues. We saw some of the second team offense today as well. Noah Grubbs was operating that. We saw him, his accuracy isn't like as good as CJ Carr at the same stage. What I do think is similar to what Carr showed at the same stage is his processing and his ability to make his reads and be decisive. Like he had a couple throws that were caught by Kadon Finley, the freshman wide receiver. One was kind of in his back hip pocket when he was moving outside, should have been out in front of him. One was a little high, but he caught both. And the point is like on the first one, Finley was his first read, get it, throw it. On the second one, he kind of looked back across the field, go through his progressions and throw it. That's what you want to see from a young quarterback, because it is much easier to kind of hone in on the mechanics and teach someone to go through their progressions.
Yeah, those are the kinds of things you're looking for when you're trying to figure out, okay, who can be our backup at quarterback, and someone that has command of the offense. You can feel confident in what they're going to do in terms of decision making. Like that's the thing above all else. Like Mike Denbrock's going to want to know, like, can I trust this quarterback to get the ball where I want it, throw it away if he needs to, not turn it over. Those are the big things that you need to do, especially as a backup quarterback, to be able to have that trust, like in a moment's notice, to be thrown in there and things not to go south all of a sudden. And so I think Noah Grubbs plays above his experience level as it relates to that. And obviously he's still a college freshman, but those are one of that's the biggest reason, the combination of those things, that he has a chance to be the backup quarterback.
We watched individual drills as well today. Tyler, I think your biggest takeaway was what you saw at Kingston Billy Amawasa. We mentioned him earlier in the video, but like if he's not 100%, he's at what 100% would look like for most guys.
Yeah, he is. He looks like the type of linebacker that many people think he is, right? Like he doesn't look like a guy coming back from a knee injury. You wouldn't know it. He doesn't have a giant brace on his knee or anything like that. And he's just moving like the Kingston that we know he can be. And so I think positive signs about where he's at going into this season. And obviously there's high expectations for what he can do. And as he continues to expand his role and the versatility that he brings to the defense, that quite frankly, no one else on the defense has the same kind of versatility that he has.
I watched the offensive indies. A couple notes that stood out to me. The quarterbacks, while everyone sounds the offensive line and defensive line were doing special team stuff, the quarterbacks worked on throwing goal line fades. They were throwing it to a couple receivers. Number one was Micah Gilbert. You'd expect him as a boundary guy. Number two was Jaden Greathouse. And that could have just been like, these are the two wideouts who aren't playing special teams, and we really haven't seen those guys in special teams, so that would make sense. But with Porter injured a little bit, maybe we start seeing Greathouse rep at the boundary a little bit. Because I think at this point, Notre Dame could probably assume its three best receivers are Faison, Mylan Graham, and Jaden Greathouse. Obviously, Micah Gilbert is in there. He's done some really good things in fall camp, but I think the more they can get Greathouse involved, either on the boundary or maybe in the red zone, like as a slot fade target in the end zone, like you can see him out muscling and nickel back there. As many boundary guys as they can get out there, I think that would probably behoove them.
Yeah, Greathouse, he's a versatile piece in the wide receiver room. Like they could play him at any of those spots. I think like size-wise, he doesn't have what you want as a boundary receiver, but he does have that contested catch ability. Like he'll go up and make a catch with a guy on him, and so that's something you can get from him. You can do different things too. Maybe you just want to stretch the field more, even with the boundary receiver, and put Mylan Graham out there. Like I think they're willing and able to do things like that. It does. Like I think that is one of my concerns as fall camp proceeds. Like, okay, what is that next group?
Yeah.
Like we felt like there was probably 4 guys that they felt good about, and that included Quincy Porter. And if Quincy Porter isn't ready to go yet, okay, who's the 4th guy? Who's the 5th guy? Micah Gilbert, Cam Williams, obviously in that group. Elijah Burris, Logan Saldate. I don't know that there's an obvious like next guy up. You think Gilbert would be with his experience level?
I think it is Gilbert. Just like we've seen him contribute on the field. Like the question is whether or not he's a difference maker. I don't think there's a question at this point as to whether or not he's a playable depth.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's fair. And certainly going against Leonard Moore in practice it doesn't make your job easy, but it probably makes him a better receiver. And I'm sure he, as much as anyone, will be looking forward to going against someone other than his teammates when the season gets rolling.
Absolutely. And I also watched, and we'll wrap up the video with this because we talked to the O-lineman and O-line coach Joe Rudolph after practice. I watched O-line indies. The way they lined up, it was Ashton Craig at center, Sullivan Apter at right guard, which you'd expect with Matty Augustine hurt. We did ask Joe Rudolph about the offseason Joe Otting had, because obviously our Eric Hansen had heard a lot from sources this offseason on that front, and he said he's been great. He mentioned he was kind of dealing with a foot injury down the stretch last year. His strength has improved. He's had a really good offseason. The question now becomes, if you decide, and we know Ashton Craig, they have made it very clear that Ashton Craig, if healthy, is one of their 5 best offensive linemen. If you decide that Otting is as well, and you'd rather have Otting at center than Absher at guard, which again, the latter is what they're lining up in now, moving Ashton Craig to guard very much on the table for them as they move through fall camp.
Yeah, it was nice to hear Joe Rudolph say that. Like, and he didn't poo-poo it in any way.
Unequivocal.
Yeah, it's like, yes, absolutely. And I think that's a confident statement in Joe Otting and what he's done. And obviously, the importance of Ashton Craig, like they want him on the field. If he's healthy and available, they want him on the field as well. And so, yeah, there was already a competition at right guard with Sullivan Absher and Matty Augustine. And now that Augustine is sidelined from that competition, that doesn't mean Sullivan Absher has that wrapped up quite yet. There's still other possibilities that they're willing to weigh, and Craig playing right guard is one of them. And so Sullivan Absher, it brings a lot in terms of size. If he can play to that size, and the physicality of a combination of Absher and Gerby Lambert would be quite the duo on the right side. But yeah, it's one thing to be big, you got to play big as well. And so that's what they're working on doing. And physicality is something that the offensive line has talked about trying to embrace, and maybe hoping that's where they can be better than they were last year, especially when we talk about the short yardage issues that Notre Dame had at times. Like physicality on the offensive line and with the tight ends too, I think can go a long way in improving that.
That I think is where a healthy Cooper Flanagan will help as well. We are in a spot where we got a bit of a break in the rain outside, so we need to hustle to his car and me to the student center to send this video to our own Mike Singer. So we will do that as soon as humanly possible. I'm Jack Sobel. He's Tyler James. Sign up for blueandgold.com. 75% off your first year. That is our best deal yet. Again, I know we say that best deal yet a lot, but that actually is our best deal yet. So check out the rest of our YouTube stuff online, magazine Blue and Gold Illustrated, and we will see you on Sunday.